also the synthesis of amine group. So I will share my slide. And then which one? So I will check if my slide can be seen by all of you.
Yes, very clear.
Very clear. Okay, thank you very much. So again, hello everyone. So I'm Siti Maria Ulfa. You can call me Ulfa. Today, I will deal for the synthesis and reaction of amines. So I'm come from Chemistry Department, Faculty of Mathematics and Sciences, Brawijaya University. So this is the outline of the class. First, I will introduce about what is amines, and then we talk about the physical properties of amines, and then we discuss about the reactions of amines, and then the last is about the synthesis of amines. Actually, we have many reaction and also synthesis part to amines, so I just introduce several of them, and we can discuss the rest. And if you have interest with this topic, you can also ask me in the future. So first of all, I will introduce about amines. Actually, amines are organic derivative of ammonia with one or more alkyl or aryl groups bonded to the nitrogen atom. So in here, wait a moment. So you can see several type of amine. Actually, I give the example here is the amine from the natural resources. For example, dopamine. So dopamine have this kind of amines. So this is so it consists of aryl group, and also bonded to, there is a carbon bonded to nitrogen. So this is the keyword of the amine. Another example, for example, epinephrine. Also, there is a carbon bonded to nitrogen, so we call this compound also amine groups. And then if we have a cyclic like this one, and one of the carbons substitute with nitrogen, we call also these compounds as amine. So especially we call this compound as heterocyclic compounds, because one of the carbon replaced by nitrogen. And there are a lot of amine in our natural resources. And the amine group in the natural resources, we usually call it the alkaloid. So alkaloid are an important groups of biologically active of amines. For example, piperazine, nicotinic acid, pyridoxine, or we call it as a vitamin B, histamine, and etc. So there are many amines comes from the natural resources, and mainly amines from the natural resources can give bioactivity, so many drugs of addiction, or as a classified as alkaloid. Maybe you are, for example, a nicotinic acid or niacin. So this is also comes from the natural resources. So actually we have many amine source in our comes from natural resources. So the keyword is if we have a carbon and connected to nitrogen, so we call it the simple amine. The nomenclature of amine, I think this is common. So I hope all of you have learned about the primary, secondary, and also tertiary and quaternary. So it's quite similar with the carbocation, for example, but in here we focus on the nitrogen. So for primary amines, actually has one alkyl group bonded to the nitrogen. For example, this one, cyclohexylamine. So we have a carbon here, and connected to nitrogen directly. So the nitrogen only connected to one carbon in here. So we call this amine as a primary amines. Actually, this is an example for cyclic compound. We also have aliphatic like this one. We have a nitrogen connected or directly into one carbon. So we call this amine as primary amines. The second type is the secondary amine. Actually, for secondary means that one nitrogen connected to the two carbons here. So we call this type of amine a secondary amine. In a cyclic compound, for example, piperidine, so this nitrogens connected to this one and this one. So the nitrogen connected to two carbons, we call it a secondary amine. The last example here is the tertiary. So when this nitrogen connected to 1, 2, and 3 carbons, so we call this type as tertiary amines. For example, N, N diethyl aniline. So N, N here suggests that there are two carbon directly connected to the nitrogen, and the last here is the carbon also connected to the nitrogen. So the parents compound should be aniline, and in this aniline connected, or the hydrogen in aniline replaced by two carbon here, this one and this one. So you have to add N, N here, suggested that two ethyl group connected to nitrogen. The cyclic one is like quinocline in here. So there is a nitrogen connected directly into this carbon, and also this carbon. So we call it tertiary amine. The last example here is quaternary amine, or we usually call ammonium salt, because all the electron around the nitrogen are replaced by the alkyl or aryl group. So this nitrogen should have a positive charge. That's why we call it as a salt, ammonium salt. So it's very clear, I think. So you can differentiate the amine as a primary, secondary, tertiary, or quaternary. And how about the common names of amine? Actually, name of the alkyl group bonded to nitrogen. So you can easily name the alkyl group first and then give the suffix amine. For example, ethylamine, the isopentylamine, the ethyl-methylamine, and etc. If you have a cyclic amine like this one, so the cyclic compound should be act as alkyl, cyclohexyl, and then we also have a dimethyl here, and the last we give the suffix amine in the last. So cyclohexyl, this is cyclohexyl, and we have 2-methyl, so cyclohexyl, dimethyl amine. So this is the common names of amine. And then if you have, you can also give a prefix D, 3, or tetra when you have 2, 3, or 4 identical substituent like this one. Dimethylamine means we have a 2-methyl attached to the nitrogen. And how about if the amine, name amine with a more complicated structure like this one, for example. So you can see in here, the main parents should be cyclohexanol. So in this case, amines become an alkyl. If amines become an alkyl, we call it as amino. So for example, this one, trans-3-aminocyclohexanol, because in here, amine comes as an alkyl, not a parent. If the amine is as parent group, so the last you give the suffix amine, but if the amine act as alkyl or substituent, so you call it amino groups. Another example, para-aminobenzoic acid. So the parents group is this one. As you know that acid should be the higher priority compared to amine. So this framework become the parents group, benzoic acid, and the amine here comes from as an alkyl group. So we call it amino group. So para-aminobenzoic acid or PABA. Another example of the common name of amine. Actually, we have aniline. I hope all of you have familiar with aniline. So we have many derivative of aniline here. And then I also introduce this kind of compound. So if we have a cyclic compound and one of the carbon of this cyclic compound replaced by nitrogen, we call this type of a compound, this type of framework as heterocyclic. So we also have heterocyclic amine. And if we have a heterocyclic amine, the nitrogen is assigned in a position of number 1. So for example, aziridine here, cyclic, we have a cyclic amine with consists of 2 carbon and 1 hydrogen. So this should be number 1. The most common one, for example, pyrrolidine here. So the nitrogen becomes a number 1, and you can give the number by order 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the methyl connected to nitrogen, it means that methyl should be in a position number 1, 1-methyl pyrrolidine or N-methyl pyrrolidine. So this is several example of heterocyclic. Another example, for example, indole, pyrimidine, piperidine, pyridine. Maybe all of you know about pyridine. We usually use pyridine as a solvent. So this is the structure of pyridine. 1 carbon in here replaced by nitrogen. So it's also categorized as a heterocyclic amine. Then how about the structure of amine itself? Actually, this is the electrostatic potential map for 3-methylamine. You can see the red one here, means many electrons in this position. So we can see that the nitrogen here is sp3 hybridized with a lone pair of electrons. So that's why the potential map suggests the red area here. It suggested that there are many electrons in there because nitrogen have a lone pair of electron there. It's similar with the tetrahedral, but it's little bit smaller. The bond, the angle is smaller compared to tetrahedral, a normal tetrahedral, 107 degree. And when the hydrogens replaced by methyl, like in a 3-ethylamine here, the methyl here have a big space compared to hydrogen. That's why there are repulsive each other, make the bond angle here become a little bit big compared to simple ammonia. And then since it's similar with tetrahedral, so it can give interconversion of amines. So if you see this example, for example, this one, ethyl-methylamine, you can see that nitrogen in here just act as a carbon chiral. In this time, the lone pair electron here should give the lowest priority. So this is the lowest priority. And if this nitrogen connected with 4 different alkyl, we call this nitrogen just similar with a carbon. So we can call it a chiral amines. But it's different with carbon since this lone pair is interconverted very fast. That's why we cannot obtain each of them. So we can identify that this kind of compound as R and this one as S as ethyl methylamine, but actually we cannot differentiate the this compound. So it's just a very fast movement. That's why mostly here they mostly interconvert rapidly, so we cannot differentiate R and S. It's just different with the normal tetrahedral carbon. So even though both of them non-superimposible mirror image, but we cannot differentiate both R and S. Actually, if we replace the substituent in the amine, so we can also call amine as a chiral amine when the nitrogen here act as an alkyl. For example, butane to amine here, the nitrogen connected to carbon, and this carbon designated as a chiral carbon. So this time we can call this compound as asymmetric chiral amine, but actually the carbon should be asymmetric. So amine whose chirality stems from the presence of asymmetric carbon atom can easily differentiate the enantiomer as S and F. But it's a little bit different with the previous because this time amine attached to the chiral carbon. So the chirality comes from the asymmetric carbon. But in this time, we can differentiate S-butan to amine and R-butan to amine. So not come from the lone pair electron here, but comes from the C chiral carbon, the asymmetric carbon atom. The second type, we can also see the asymmetric nitrogen atoms come from quaternary ammonium salt. So when all the substituent in the nitrogen is replaced by different alkyl, for example, in this one, hydrogen replaced with a phenyl group or the dimethyl propyl in here, methyl and also ethyl. So we can see that this nitrogen should be the asymmetric nitrogen because it consists of 4 types of alkyl with different substituent. So we can easily differentiate the R type and also S type. Both of them non-superimposible and both of them can clearly differentiate because the flipping is not very fast as previous. And then the third type, nitrogen atom is containing in small rings. So sometimes nitrogen can also connected in a cyclic like this one, in a small cyclic compound. So it is prevented from attaining the 120-degree bond angle that facilitate inversion because the cyclic is very small. That's why the flipping of the nitrogen here with the lone pair electron here become difficult. In this time, we can easily differentiate R and S enantiomer. So we have 3 types of chiral amine, stem from carbon asymmetric carbon atom or quaternary ammonium salt, and the last one, when we have a small molecules containing nitrogen, the flipping become difficult, and at that time we can easily consider the amine as R or S. So this is the general information about the amine. Now we move to the physical properties of amines. First, about the boiling points. So you can easily see in this table how the boiling point of its amine. So first of all, we can see 3-methylamine in here. The boiling point is very low, that is 3 degrees Celsius. We compare this amine with the ether. Actually, it's have a similar molecular weight, but ether slightly have a high boiling point. And then when we compare the secondary amine here with the primary amine, actually both of them have a same molecular weight, so both of them is slightly different. Primary amine have a higher boiling point compared to tertiary amine. Compared to secondary amine. And the least boiling point is the tertiary amine. So from this data, actually we can deduce why or what the what is the influence of a boiling point in amine. So you can see here we have, for example, this kind of amine, and it's less polar than OH. So you can compare this one, alcohol, with the primary amine here. Alcohol have higher boiling point compared to amine. Actually, if we have a substituent here, for example, we have methyl group and also we have ethyl group here, the dipole moment or the dipole moment is directly to the nitrogen. So CH3, for example, or ethyl, the dipole moment is crossed over the bond and goes through the amine. So overall dipole moment goes through the amine. Then, if all the dipole moment goes through the nitrogen, it makes the weaker hydrogen bonding. So weaker hydrogen bonds, so amine will have lower boiling point than the corresponding alcohol. So because all the dipole moment goes to nitrogen here, that's why the hydrogen bonding in here become weaker compared to the alcohol. However, for the tertiary amine, hydrogen bond acceptor only. So when we have many substituent in here, so it's become decreased, the boiling point become decreased. So tertiary amine cannot do hydrogen bonding, so they have lower boiling point compared to primary and secondary amine, because all of the electron goes here, have a bonding with the alkyl group in here. So the hydrogen bonding is most lower or most weaker compared to the tertiary, compared to the primary or secondary amine. Amine also have a strongly polar because the large dipole moment of the lone pair of electron adds to the dipole moment of the carbon. So from the C here, from the carbon goes to nitrogen, from the hydrogen also goes to nitrogen. That's why the overall dipole moment comes to the nitrogen, and it gives the weaker bonding with another hydrogen atom. So if we have a tertiary, there is no hydrogen atom, so it cannot do the hydrogen bond, and it makes the boiling point becomes lower. So I hope all of you learn about the hydrogen bondings. The stronger hydrogen bonding make the boiling point higher. So if the molecule cannot do hydrogen bonding, it will decrease the boiling point. This is several example of the boiling point of several amines. Small you can see in here the data of the boiling point. And then after we talk about the boiling point, so how about the solubility? The small amines are soluble in water, so because it's small and can do a hydrogen bonding better compared to the branch amine. All amine can accept hydrogen bond from water and alcohol. So, and then branching increases solubility. For example, you can see here, methylamine actually very soluble in water, and then increase the branch, for example, become dimethylamine. It also give the higher solubility. So the solubility is very soluble because it's small amine. And actually, the differences in the boiling point here is very clear. And then increasing the brands to 3-methylamine or 3-ethylamine and etc., you can see that the solubility become increased. So we can check all the properties here easily in the organic chemistry books. And then the next is about the basicity. As we know that amines can act as a nucleophile, so that means that it has because it has a lone pair electron here, so it can easily, for example, this one, the lone pair electron in a nitrogen can easily attack the hydrogen and acid, so it acts as a base because it easily attacks a proton acid. So amine should be the base. And another properties, amine also act as a nucleophile. So when the amine react with, for example, methyl iodide here, so the lone pair electron of nitrogen can act as in a methyl group, and then iodide will cleave as a good leaving group, give new C bond form here. So this is the new bonding here. So amine can act as a nucleophile and also as a base. It's different. It's different. We can easily differentiate. So when nucleophile react with electrophile, but if it act as base, it should be react with acid. So amine is a nucleophile as a Lewis base because it has a lone pair electron to make a new bond with electrophile, and also is it a Bronsted-Lowry base because it can accept a proton from protonate acid. And then based on the dissociation constant, actually it's easily dissociate in water, so it will give a lower pKb here. That's why the equilibrium constant of this reaction should be symbolized with this one. Since amine is basis have a basicity, so we have a Kb here from this equilibrium constant. So we easily learn this one from general chemistry. This is some value of pKb. So stronger bases have a smaller values of pKb. You can check in here the pKb of several amine derivative. And what the factor affect the amine basicity? First is the substitution. So as previously stated that if we have a methyl group in here connected to amine, actually the electron induced into the amine. So we can see by replace this hydrogen into the methyl, the basicity of the amine becomes stronger compared to this one. So ammonia should be the weaker base compared to methylamine. So by check this pKb, you can predict how the substituent affect the alkyl group. So alkyl groups are electron donating toward the cation. That's why the methyl group help to stabilize the positive charge on nitrogen. Methylamine are stronger base than ammonia. The simple alkyl amine are generally stronger bases than ammonia. So the problem is, how about if we edit more methyls in the amine? For example, we have a dimethylamine versus trimethylamine. Maybe someone can explain which one is the most basis between dimethylamine and trimethylamine. Maybe someone can raise hand and can you explain or predict which one is the more basic, dimethylamine or trimethylamine? Is there any opinion?
Any of you want to answer? Dr. Ulfa?
Maybe student still confused. So if we have one methyl in here, actually can increase the basicity. And if you edit
Actually, one student, Dr. Ulfa, answer is dimethylamine.
that,
Dimethylamine, more basic.
oh, okay, yes, you're right.
Thank
So
you, Shah and Sharifah.
yes, this is the data. If you edit one methyl more compared to the methylamine, for example, dimethylamine, actually the pKb of the dimethylamine is 3.28 and trimethylamine 4.26. Not very different. It's a little bit different, not very, but actually when we comparing the amount of a methyl introduced in the amine, actually if we introduce 3-methyl in an amine, not increase the basicity, but decrease the basicity. Actually, at this time, we have sulfation effect. So the additional alkyl groups around the ammonium ion decrease the number of water molecules that can sulfate the ion. That's why the pKb or the basicity become decrease, not increase, not very base, not a stronger base compared to the dimethylamine because the sulfation effect. So inductive stabilization and steric hindrance of sulfation should be balanced. That's why the secondary amine here. That's why the secondary amine have a higher basicity compared to the tertiary. And also the secondary is most higher basicity, have a higher basicity compared to the methylamine. So your answer is right. The most basic is dimethylamine. By additional methyl group will decrease the basicity because the sulfation effect become difficult. The second factor is resonance. So resonance also affect the basicity of the amine. Here the example of simple aryl amine, that is aniline here. So aniline are much weaker bases than simple aliphatic amine because the basicity is reduced due to the resonance delocalization of the non-bonding electron here. So the non-bonding electron in nitrogen also involved in the resonance delocalization. That's why the basicity also much weaker compared to the simple aliphatic amine. Another example is the pyrrole. Pyrrole is a 5 cyclic member ring with the 1 carbon replaced by nitrogen here. Pyrrole is very weak. The pKb is almost around 15. But when the pyrrole nitrogen is protonated, like this one, pyrrole loses its aromatic stabilization. That's why it become a strong acid. So when it protonated, it's the aromaticity of the pyrrole disappear. That's why it's become a very strong acid. The third factor is hybridization effect. Actually, this is similar when you learn about the alkynes, which is the more S character give the tightly orbitals. So the electron tightly held in the carbon center. That's why if we have, for example, in here, simple nitrile like this one, the pKb is very big, so it's very weakly basic compared to the other, because we can see here that the sp orbital here, the s character is 50%. That's why the electron is tightly bonded to the atom, and it give a very weak basic. Compared to pyridine, for example here, have a pKb 8.75, less basic compared to the piperidine, because the nitrogen here, the amine here should be sp2 hybridized. It means that the S character should be 33% compared to this piperidine. Piperidine is the hybridization is sp3, which is the S character smaller compared to sp2. So the greater S character more tightly held the electrons. That's why the basicity become a lower, become a weaker compared to the S character, which is the small s character. So there are three factors that affect the basicity of the amine: the presence of the substituent alkyl group, and the second resonance, and the third is hybridization effect. So now we move to the third part about the reaction of amine. So if you have any question, maybe you can ask to me before we continue the lecture. Is there any questions from students about the physical properties, and also whatever you want to ask?
Any question, student? Or you can text in the chat box. So
Okay.
I can read.
Okay, maybe we can continue. So you can write in the chat box if you have any questions.
One question, Dr. Rufa, from Rodiana. She asked about aniline is considerably less basic than methylenamine. Could you talk through the competing resonance, delocalization, and inductive effect?
Oh, okay.
The solvent
Yes.
we can ever invert the basicity order.
Oh, okay. I can see the question. Sorry. Competing resonance delocalization and inductive effect, and comment on whether solvent polarity can ever invert the basicity order. Okay. Thank you very much for the question. Actually, resonance is give more effect compared to inductive. That's why if we have a molecule. So I will share again slide. So for example, in here, so resonance have a more strong effect compared to the inductive effect. That's why aniline have a lower basicity compared to the simple aliphatic amine. Because the electron here can stabilize the lone pair electron in aniline involved in the resonance. But if we have a simple aliphatic amine, for example, this one, there are no delocalization electron. That's why the simple aliphatic amine have a stronger base compared to the resonance amines, which means that amine involved in the if the amine can involve in the resonance or delocalize the electron. And how about the solvation effect? Actually, if we have a steric hindrance in the amine, so the solvation effect become difficult, and then it can also weaker. So the basicity become weaker. If you change the solvent, it can increase the basicity if we can adjust the steric hindrance and also the solvation effect. So you can try using several solvent, and you can check the pH. So if the solvation effect can be broke by the solvent effect, then the solvation can easily occurs, it will increase the basicity of your amine. So you have to consider about the balancing of the solvation and also the steric hindrance. Maybe that's from me about the basicity of the amine. I hope it can answer your questions, or maybe we can discuss later. So thank you for the question. So we go through the third part about the reaction of amine. So actually there are a lot of reaction involved in the amine, because we know that amine have a lone pair electron which can be easily transferred to another atom, to another compounds. That's why we have many derivative of amine. First, I will introduce about the reaction of amine with a ketone or aldehyde, because it's very easy since amine have a lone pair electron in here, and carbonyl ketone or aldehyde is very positive, so it's easily to give the derivative of the amine by reacted with ketone. So here we can obtain imina, for example, this one, imina. If the Y, we replace the Y into hydroxylamine, for example, we have an oxime. If we have a dimer of amine, we have a hydrogen. So the reaction is very easy. First step, the lone pair electron of amine here act as a nucleophile, and it can directly tag to the carbon of carbonyl from ketone or aldehyde. Give carbonyl amine as an intermediate, and the last we have the product. So the first reaction, I think it's not very difficult. So mostly not very difficult for the mechanism reaction of amine, because we can clearly state that amine can act as nucleophile or as a base. The second reaction, electrophilic aromatic substitution. So amine also can act as an because NH2 in here, for example, aniline, when amine group attached to the aromatics, for example, here we have aniline, NH2 become a strong activator. So the activator will produce the substitution product in ortho and para position. This is the sigma complex of the intermediate. You can easily follow this mechanism. So when we add an electrophile, the amine here, the aniline, for example, the lone pair electron of in the nitrogen will goes through the aromatic and then added to the electrophile. And why? The NH2 a strong activator promote or introduce the electrophile in the ortho and para. Actually, it's a very easy understanding that this sigma complex and also this sigma complex is the most stable intermediate compared to the other. Why? Because in the sigma complex, we can see that C double bond N here. So the density of electron, the pi electron, attack directly into the nitrogen. So nitrogen here have a positive charge, and the pi electron directly attached to the nitrogen, which is less electron. So the electron density move toward the nitrogen, make this intermediate become very stable. That's why if we have amine, if we have amino, and then we have an electrophile, and the reaction proceed through electrophilic aromatic substitution. This electrophile will introduce into the ortho position, like this one, and then para position. But the problem is because amino group is strong activator, if we use an excess reagent like this one, so multiple alkylation will proceed. But if you want to make multiple alkylation product, it's no problem. But if you only want to add one molecule, for example, I want to make a para-bromo aniline, this one. So you have to exactly calculate the mole of your reagent, because NH2 is very strong activator, can give multiple product like this one. And then the protonation of amine convert the group into a deactivator, which is in here. If we have aniline, NH2 is very active, and then you react with a strong acid, because this is also can act as a basic when react with a strong acid, or of course all the NH2 will protonate by the acid, give NH3 positive, give a quaternary amine, so become unactivated. But if you want to do nitration, for example, usually we do a nitration using nitric acid and then amino group here. The reaction may burn or explode. So you have to not to do this reaction, because the very higher concentration of acid cannot react with the NH2. It's only give a oxidation product. And then the next reaction, for example, in here, if we have a pyridine, actually different with aniline. which is NH2 amino group is strong activated. If we have a pyridine, nitrogen in here become strongly deactivated. That's why the reaction becomes very difficult. For example, this bromination needs 300 degrees Celsius to give 30% of 3-bromopyridine. So it's difficult to use pyridine in the electrophilic aromatic substitution because nitrogen here is deactivated nitrogen by electronegative nitrogen. And the most suitable substitution only occur in a 3 position. So it's different with aniline. Aniline give the ortho and para, but if we use pyridine, pyridine will give 3 substitution position. So this is the mechanism of attack of the 3 position in the pyridine. You can easily follow this mechanism. This time, different with the aniline, actually when the attack of the electrophile occurs in the 3rd position here, so the positive charge here never attaches into the nitrogen. So never attach into the nitrogen. That's why the 3 position become the most favorable reaction substitution when you use pyridine. We cannot edit the substituent into the ortho or para position. So this is the explanation about the attack at the 2 position or 4 position is not observed because it will give no octet intermediate, which is the nitrogen here receive a positive charge. That's why this intermediate is the unfavorable. So we cannot obtain 2-nitropyridine or 4-nitropyridine. It's not observed. Only 3 position is available when you use aniline as starting material. But if you have a nucleophile, so because the pyridine is the nitrogen here deactivated the compound, if we have a nucleophile, so the reaction can easily proceed. But in this time, we have to edit the substituent, which is the substituent should be leaving group, the good leaving group. Then this reaction can be proceed. So because pyridine deactivated to an electrophilic aromatic substituent, but if we have a nucleophile, so this compound is activated. Nucleophile will replace a good leaving group in a 2 or 4 position. So if you want to make, for example, 2-methoxypyridine, you can edit the leaving group in here and then react with a nucleophile, for example, methoxyl group, and then the reaction can easily proceed. In this time, the negative charge will attach to the nitrogen. That's why this one is the most favorable intermediate. So the reaction is easily proceed. Cl group will replace by the new nucleophile. So electrophilic aromatic substitution cannot be used if you want to edit alkyl group in a 2 position or 4 position, but you can use nucleophilic aromatic substitution. So this is the explanation about the mechanism of nucleophilic attack at the 3 positions. We cannot observe this product. The next reaction is alkylation of amine by alkyl halide. Actually, this reaction is very easy to follow because amine is the nucleophile And if we have alkyl halide here, we have a bromo ion, which is the good leaving group. So the reaction easily proceed from this lone pair electron attached to this carbon and cleave the bromonium ion, give tertiary amine like this one. So even if just one equivalent of halide is added, some amine molecules will react once. Some will react twice and some will react 3 times to give tetraalkyl ammonium salt because the amine is very reactive. The similar reaction is acylation of amine using alkyl halides. So acylation is a more suitable reactions if you want to synthesize amide group. So the mechanism also very simple. The lone pair electron from nitrogen here attached to this carbon carbonyl, and then the chlorine depart from this carbon, give amide. This reaction also categorized as nucleophilic acyl substitution because we substitute the chlor here, the nucleophile, the leaving group Cl, into the other nucleophile that is amine. Acylation of aromatic amine is also can be occurs. So you have easily react the aniline with the acetyl chloride and give astanilide. And then if you want to proceed to another amine derivative, after we get the amide in here, amide is not very reactive compared to aniline. So in this time, you can use strong acid after you replace the aniline NH2 into the amide. So in the previous slide, I suggest you to not react the aniline with the acid because it will explode. But once you acetylated this amine into the amide, so the next reaction can proceed using strong acid to hydrolyze this amide into aniline into NH2 again. So we can get para-nitroaniline, for example. So you can introduce a nitro group and then the last hydrolyze the amide into the aniline again. But if you directly reacted this aniline with this one, you cannot obtain the para-nitroaniline. Your reaction will be explode. The next one is the sulfonamides. Actually, this is a very phenomenal reactions. So this is the first drug to kill the bacteria. So for antibacteria, is easily react amine with sulfonyl chloride. So the reaction can follow in here. The last we have sulfonamide. Primary or secondary amine react with the sulfonyl chloride to give sulfonamide. This is the sulfanilamide. So it's very popular for antibacteria. Why? Because the structure is similar with the folic acid here, but actually bacteria cannot distinguish the sulfo group with the aminobenzoic acid. That's why it will inhibit the growth of the bacteria. So we use this compound sulfanilamide as an antibacteria. The next one is a Hofmann elimination. So when we heard about the elimination, actually the reaction will give the elimination product, so release the small molecules. And if we have the simple amine, for example, cyclohexylamine here, reacted with the methyl iodide and argentum, it will give this kind of compound. Actually, this is quaternary amine, And then the next vocab with base, for example, will protonate the hydrogen and it gives the cyclohexene and release the trimethylamine. Actually, quaternary ammonium salt is a good leaving group, so it's easily depart from this compound, give this kind of alkene. Which one? Okay. How this reaction occurs? So in here we see the reaction of amine with the methyl iodide to give the exhaustive or quaternary ammonium salt. So we have to replace the amine here into the good leaving group. So the first step here, the reaction with the methyl iodide is to replace the amine, which is amine is not a good leaving group. So we can replace the amine into the quaternary salt and make this quaternary salt as a good leaving group. That's why to do this reaction, Hofmann elimination, first you have to react the amine, which is poor leaving group, with for example, methyl iodide, excess methyl iodide will give this kind quaternary salt, which is the good leaving group. And then we call here exhaustive methylation because we want to remove all the hydrogen here into the methyl. And then after that, conversion of hydroxide salt using argentum here will give quaternary ammonium hydroxide. We will give the suspension of AgE. And then after that, the cliff of this quaternary amine become easily observed when heated the reaction in a basic condition. So this hydroxyl attack the hydrogen alpha from the leaving group and give the alkene and small amine as a leaving group. So this is the mechanism of Hofmann reaction. We have to change the amine become a quaternary amine and then heat it in a basic condition to give the alkene. The specific one from this reaction, actually the regioselectivity of Hofmann elimination is different with ZCF product because Hofmann prefer the not substituted alkene. If you still remember about the ZCF product from Markovnikov one, actually in here, in this Hofmann elimination, the product, the major product is the not substituted alkene. So you have to remember, if we use this kind of reaction, excess of methyl iodide, and then argentum and water. So if we use amine as starting material and we want the alkene, so the most suitable or the major product we will obtain is the not very substituted alkene. So heating and Hofmann elimination proceed to this one. We can proceed by this hydrogen or this hydrogen. Actually, Hofmann product is when hydroxyl group attack the hydrogen alpha from carbon number 1, give 1 butane. But if hydroxyl group attack to the third hydrogen alpha here, it will give 2 butane, which is 2 butane more substituted compared to the 1 butane. This is the ZCF product and this is the Hofmann product. So if we use this kind of reaction, we will obtain this one as major product, not ZCF product. So the least substituted product is a major product from Hofmann product. So you have to remember what kind of reactant we use. If we use amine as a starting material and use excess of methyl iodide, and then the Hofmann product should be proceed. The next reaction is oxidation. There are several oxidation reagents. So amine are easily oxidized even in the air. So it's a very not very difficult to oxidize. Common oxidation agent is peroxide or MCPBA. And then second amine oxidized to hydroxylamine. Tertiary amine oxidized to amine oxide. So this is several type of oxidation of amine. From amine we can obtain hydroxylamine, for example, amine oxide, nitroso, and nitro. So I just give this slide for oxidation. We will move to another one. Actually, this is related to the oxidation of amine. So after we have an oxidation product, next we can also obtain alkene by Cope rearrangement. So it's different mechanism with the Hofmann elimination. So after you obtain the oxidation product, for example, nitroso tertiary amine like this one, next, this kind of oxidation product can do a rearrangement, which we call it Cope rearrangement. So by Cope rearrangement, actually the oxygen here will attack the hydrogen, abstract the hydrogen, and then the bond is cleaved to give the alkene, followed by A2 mechanism. And actually, this one also proceed to Hofmann elimination. This is the example. So if we have a tertiary amine like this one, and then this amine is oxidized in using peroxide, for example, and then heated, the final product is the alkene. So proceed to Hofmann elimination. The first, we will obtain the oxidation product, that is nitrosamine. And then after heated, there are two kinds of product can be obtained. Actually, the more substituted alkene like this one, or the least substituted alkene like this one. The Cope rearrangement allow the product to Hofmann product. So this is the major product. And this one, side safe product, should be the minor product. So if we use amine as a starting material, mainly we will obtain Hofmann product, which is the elimination proceed to the unsubstituted alkene product as a major product. So there are two ways to obtain the elimination product. We can directly use methylamine, for example, with excessive methylation, and the second one through the oxidation first and then give the elimination product. So until this one, we have learned about the reaction of amine. We can obtain many amine derivative by this kind of reactions. And the last part is about the synthesis of amine. Actually, is not very difficult. So first, I will introduce about the synthesis of primary amine. You can easily react the ammonia, for example, with acid chloride to give a primary amine. Sorry, not amine, primary amide like this one, and then reduce with, for example, lithium aluminum hydride, and it will give a primary amine. So primary is amine is very easy to understand because it only connect with the nitrogen, connect with the one carbon in here. So two steps should be need. from ammonia with acid chloride to give amide, and after we obtain amide, which is amide should be the oxidized product, so we have to reduce using reducing agent. The second synthesis of amine is the synthesis of secondary amine by acylation and then reduction. So first of all, do the acylation reaction. So amine reacted with acid chloride, and then we obtain amide, and then after that reduce amide into alkylated amine. So in here, the amine position as a secondary amine. So two steps. We need two steps to make to synthesize amine. The tertiary amine here also easily obtained by reacted with reaction from secondary amine with the acid chloride. We have disubstituted amide, and then the last is reduced with the lithium aluminum hydride to give a tertiary amine. Okay, this is all from me. I'm sorry because we have a limited time, so not all the reaction or the synthesis introduced in this class, so we can discuss further. Okay, thank you, Dr. Hidayah. Maybe I can stop the share.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ulfa, for your kind presentation, a very kind presentation. Yes, we do not have many times since you have another program, right? You have bio.
Yes, we can still continue our collaboration with another program.
Okay. Okay, so before that, if you have any question to Dr. Ulfa, you can ask directly. Okay, one question. Why don't tertiary amines participate in the formation of sulfonamide? Is it because of the lack of hydrogen on the nitrogen, or are there other reasons?
Oh, okay.
See from the chat box.
Okay, I can see the questions. So I will share again the slide. Okay, so thank you for the question. Actually, in here, primary or secondary amine react with sulfonyl chloride, but tertiary amine cannot react with in this reaction. So, as you know that the sulfonyl chloride here have a steric part. So if we have, for example, so you stated this one. Like this one. It's not because the amine didn't have any hydrogen, but in the case of steric hindrance of the alkyl group in here, actually it's very bulky, and the sulfonyl chloride also bulky. The SN2 reaction is difficult to do. So this is the bulky one. So if we have R in here, so it's difficult to attack this sulfonyl here. That's why the primary or secondary still can react, but tertiary amine cannot react with sulfonyl chloride to give a sulfonamide, because the steric hindrance of the alkyl group in the starting material here, and it will difficult to attack the sulfone in here, even though the chlor as a leaving group is okay, it can easily cleave, but the steric hindrance of the substituent, it gives the difficult product. Okay.
Okay. Any question? Is it okay, Rudiana, to answer? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, next. Anyone of you want to ask regarding on the synthesis part? You can write in the chat box. Or you want to ask directly to Dr. Scott? Okay, from Anu Najwa. In what situation would Hoffman elimination be preferred over Sezif elimination? Dr. Ulfa.
In what situation would Hoffman elimination be preferred over Zaitsev elimination? So of course, if we have a amine and you use a methyl iodate, for example, so if we have excessive methylation, then we got quaternary amine as a leaving group, the Hoffman elimination preferred because the bulkiness of the quaternary ammonium. So that's why if you see this one, sorry. So you can compare both position of hydrogen alpha in the carbon number 1 and carbon number 3, here also hydrogen alpha. So actually the most favorable position to eliminate the hydrogen is from carbon number 1. The space is very easily to attack the hydrogen here, compare this space. That's why the Hoffman elimination preferred compared to ZZF product. So this the bulkiness of this leaving group also influence in what parts the elimination occurs. This is a very bulky. That's why the hydroxyl ion easily attack this hydrogen alpha compared to this one. So this is the reason why Hoffman elimination proceeds smoothly compared to ZCF product when we change the amine into the quaternary bulky leaving group.
Okay, is it okay, Anu? Anu Najwa?
Okay, Doctor. Thank you.
Oh, finally, ada suara. Thank you, Najwa. Okay, another question. I think this is the last question for Dr. Ulfa. How does the presence of electron donating or withdrawing groups affect the reactivity of the aromatic amines?
How does the presence of electron donating or withdrawing groups affect the reactivity of amine? Okay, since the amine is a very active substituent, so if we have electron withdrawing group, so it can deactivate the ring. So I didn't share. So we haven't talked about this one. Okay, I think we can use this slide as an example. Actually, NH2 is strong activator and will will give a ortho and para director. So if we have, for example, not here. For example, if we from the first reaction and we have okay, let's write it here. I didn't prepare the slide. So I'm sorry. For example, we have a methoxyl group in the para position toward the amine, toward the NH2 in here. The electron goes through this one, into this one, to this one, and to this one, and to this one, makes the density electron in the NH2 become rich compared with the with the no electron donating group. That's why in this time, the reaction, if we edit with if we have electrophile here, so of course this electrophile will easily substitute in this position. So we'll increase the electrophilic aromatic substitution will smoothly occurs if there are several electron donating group in this ring. But if we have electron withdrawing group, for example, we have nothing here. For example, we have nitronium. Nitronium is electron withdrawing group. So that's why the electron density will move from the NH2 into this one, to the electron withdrawing group. That's why the aromatic substitution reaction becomes slower compared to the presence of electron donating group. So I hope this explanation can answer your questions.
Is it okay, Aisha? I think Dr. Rifa elaborate and explain details in your question.